Welcome to There Will Be Expletives. I am Geoff.
I am Ron. And this weekend we saw a little indie film at the theater.
You can call it that. It only made $1 billion.
Yeah. Deep Blue Sea 2, I believe. What was the actual working title, though?
Jurassic World?
Yeah, that's it. I think, yeah, that's it.
We were the last people on the planet to watch that movie.
It was only out for 2 weeks, but we're the last people on the planet to see it.
Yeah, it actually, I don't know if you saw it, but it was predicted. You know, it already has the best opening weekend ever.
Yeah.
And it was predicted to lose to Avengers for the second weekend. You know, like, it wasn't going to have the best second weekend ever, but then ended up beating it by like $1 million. So
well, of course.
It now has the best first weekend and frickin' second weekend money return wise. So
Chris Pratt's on a fucking roll, man.
Oh yeah, man!
Guardians of the Galaxy. No one knew what to expect from that.
He went from freaking Andy Dwyer on Parks and Rec to starring in the Marvel movie to Jurassic Park, and now he can pretty much do anything.
Yeah. Because
I don't know if you knew this, but like they actually have like accountants in Hollywood who run actors versus their box office returns.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of
like a ratio.
Yeah, like each of the actors in Hollywood actually have a ratio. That's why you'll randomly see like a dude like. Do you remember the guy in Avatar, Sam Worthington? He was also in Terminator Salvation.
Yeah.
He was in like everything for a year and a half, and then in nothing since
because the ratio kept going down.
Yeah, because like they actually do the numbers and shit like that. So you see freaking Chris Pratt, like you make Guardians one of the biggest hits of the year.
Yeah.
I had never even read a Guardians of the Galaxy comic, and that shit was one of the highest, grossing movies of the year.
Would you say out of this world?
You just can't fucking help yourself every episode.
But yeah, so, okay. Jurassic World. Let's see. We had Jurassic Park mixed in with a little bit of Deep Blue Sea, mixed in with a little bit of Uncharted. And what, Dino Crisis? That sound like a fair assessment?
You could say that. And I had a lot of fun with the movie.
Yeah,
a lot of people are going out of their way to kind of shit on it. I mean, imagine that.
Okay. Since you brought that up, and granted, I have no room to talk, and I'll explain why after this. But one of the most ridiculous things that I heard on the internet about people were shitting on was, and we're going to go into spoilers right here on this because it's the only way I can explain this.
I mean, it's probably kind of pointless to call spoilers because everyone on the planet has seen this movie now.
It's been out 2.5 weeks, though, at the same time.
Yeah.
There's probably still a lot of people out there waiting to die down. None of those people are listening to us, but they're probably still out there waiting for it to die down a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and call spoilers right now on this discussion of Jurassic World. It's not going to be a very long discussion. We actually have some news to get into.
Yeah, skip forward a couple minutes if you don't want to hear it.
Okay, one of the most awesome scenes in the movie was the climax, right? With Paddock 9 being opened, and you see the T-Rex from the first Jurassic Park. The director confirmed was the original T-Rex from the first Jurassic Park, like the character T-Rex, not the animatronic. Well, remember she's got the flare, and it had him coming out, which, by the way, one of the coolest visuals they ever gave you was her standing there with the flare, like alien style, and then the T-Rex comes out and you had the reflection of the flare in its eyes as it's slowly creeping out. Like, that shit's gonna haunt my nightmares, I think. That was amazing. But remember, it's chasing her and she's running towards the Indominus Rex, and it's chasing her and she's wearing high heels. And people are like, that would never happen in real life. If she's wearing high heels, that T-Rex would catch her. And I'm like, are you wanting to have a real life discussion on this about a T-Rex in modern day catching a chick in heels?
And they're not even they haven't even just brought dinosaurs back, but they're gene splicing dinosaurs into like different variations. It's like, come on, guys.
That is where you call bullshit on this movie, is the girl in high heels running from a T-Rex.
Although you have no room to talk because what were you about to bring up?
The first thing I said. The very first thing I said when we got out of the movie was, there's no way they would have gotten those fucking Jeeps started, dude. Those Jeeps have been sitting there for 20 years. The gas in the tanks and in the lines are jelly now.
I'm facepalming you again, by the way. Like, dude.
The first thing he said was, that's what you're going to call out on the movie about dinosaurs and genetically engineered dinosaurs.
But yeah, I really don't get why people are kind of going out of their way, because what Jurassic World does and accomplishes is the only thing it sets out to do is it's supposed to be just be a dumb summer movie.
Yeah.
That you're not supposed to take this shit like it's, up for Oscars. It's, just supposed to be a fun movie.
Here's the thing. Here's the way I look at it. Jurassic World is kind of along the lines of Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's better put together than Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm not invoking Guardians because of Chris Pratt, but...
What do you mean by better put together?
Like, okay, so in Guardians, we've talked a lot about how you know nothing about the villain, and you know nothing about any of his motives. There's a ton of plot holes throughout the movie, but you don't give a shit about any of it because it's such a fun movie, right? So... Jurassic World, I think, covered its bases a lot better, and it's probably better put together in the sense of plot holes and stuff. And it feels like a more rounded out movie because they kind of fleshed out Vincent D'Onofrio's character and reasoning, and they fleshed him out a hell of a lot more than they did the Kree dude. Ronan, was that his name?
Yeah, we can barely remember his name. He was so underdeveloped. It was, that was really...
Because he's blue, I assume he's Kree.
Although I think, Guardians had issues with the villain development, but I don't really remember, what plot holes do you remember? I don't remember that many plot holes about it, honestly. It was just, they had a really underdeveloped villain. That was the only problem I really had with the movie.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really explain or flesh out a whole lot. They didn't really go into anything much at all, other than just following, your main characters around, your mini Avengers around. But, like I said, it didn't matter because it was a fucking awesome movie, right? Well, Jurassic World, in my opinion, with all the issues people were calling it out on, is just dumb fucking issues. Like the high heels, running from a T-Rex. In that situation, what you should be calling out is not the high heels.
Yeah, T-Rex is in the sentence.
I mean, really? So, as far as that kind of thing goes, it doesn't matter because the movie was such a fun movie anyway.
Also, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but did you know in Jurassic Park they actually, totally revamped the way raptors were actually in real life? Did you know raptors were actually only up to our knees?
Really?
Yeah, they totally, since they're so pivotal, especially before this one, they were usually the villain kind of. They had to make them more scary.
Did they do that intentionally? Did they have the same issue they had with T-Rex in the first Jurassic Park?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Because did you know about the T-Rex issues in the first Jurassic Park?
No, you've seen it much more recently than I have.
They had literally already finished the movie. It was just about to release, and then it came out that T-Rex's eyes were more forward on its face, and what they used to think was eye sockets was actually ventilation, for heat, kind of like the raptor snout. So the scene in the first Jurassic Park that they did several times with the T-Rex head next to it and it's kind of sideways looking into the vehicle.
They couldn't do that?
They couldn't do that because the eyes were in the wrong place.
So they had more of a human setup.
Well, it turns out predators are built universally. Predators and herbivores are universally built. So almost all predators on the planet have forward-facing eyes for depth perception. And then the herbivores that, are the meat for the predators, their eyes are more on the side of their head, and they have monocular vision as opposed to binocular vision. So
this is the most intellectual conversation we've ever had on this podcast.
Like a horse, the left eye sees everything to the left, and the right eye sees everything to the right, and they'll have a blind spot in the middle. So they're seeing two different directions at the same time. But then, like a human or any other predator, two eyes work together to create one image. So it turns out T-Rex, it was the same for any of the dinosaurs, and that came out right after they fucking finished the film and it was about to release, and it was too late to go back and correct. So if you watch any other Jurassic Park movies, the eyes are more forward-facing, and while they still do the head, say in the Lost World Jurassic Park, because I just watched all these movies recently, there's a scene where the head comes down I'm using my hands to talk, and I'm sitting here watching Jeff's eyes follow my hand movements.
That helps anyone listening.
But it's the T-Rex looks into the car again, same way as the first movie, but the head is now turned. It's not beside the vehicle. It's now turned to look into the vehicle because they went back and corrected it in the subsequent films. So,
I just found the raptor thing to be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because, like, when I think of raptors, my brain automatically goes to Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And I think of them as, them being like 6 feet tall and terrifying, but if they were actually the size of like, golden retrievers, that makes them a little less intimidating. But yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I had a blast with it. I mean, you're a much bigger Jurassic Park fan than me, so for you to have a good time with it and to not really, crucify it for being
just the 20-year-old Jeeps was the only part I was like, bullshit. You have a car that sits for 3 years, good luck starting it. But,
yeah, you really can't complain about that movie.
But no, I have to say we said before earlier on this podcast in an earlier episode somewhere back when we were analyzing the trailer for it, I had a lot of concerns, and I said it was going to be a great movie, but it was going to be a terrible Jurassic Park movie. Why'd the lights just flash while we're recording? But I have to say, I think it fits in pretty well to the Jurassic Park universe, the way they did it.
So where would you rank it? After you've had a little bit of time to think about it.
I think of the 4 movies total, it's probably second best. I still say the first one's best.
That's where I want to place it, although I definitely know Lost World's the last one for me, because I'm not a big fan of Lost World. That's the one that doesn't really do it for me.
I'm actually kind of confused on that notion now, because when I was a kid, I remember, I love all 4 films. Okay, including Lost World, which most people do not like. You are not alone on that. A lot of people pretend like that movie doesn't exist at all. But I love all 4 films, but Lost World was bottom of my list.
Yeah.
If I had to rank them. But, after watching Jurassic Park 3, because that was my second favorite, back when there was only 3 of them, nothing happens in that movie. Like, at all. Like, when I was a kid, that movie blew my mind. And
yeah, it's been years since I've seen it, so I honestly couldn't tell you. I remember Lost World better just because I saw it more times as a child.
Yeah, and I watched, it was literally Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We watched one every night. So last Friday we watched Jurassic Park 3. Nothing happens in that whole movie. They're walking around an island for the entire movie, and every once in a while a dinosaur kind of shows up, and then it's gone.
Yeah, because in that one, they do a lot of you don't really see was it the Spinosaurus? Was it that one? Yeah.
It's kind of stalking them.
Barely see it until like the last fight they have with it.
It was almost sexy how good, like, even the animatronics were in the first 2 Jurassic Park movies. And then you get to the third one, and it's like real jerky movements, and it's real B-movie quality animatronics. It was very interesting, actually, watching it, and it was always my second favorite, and when I was done watching that movie, I was just confused.
Like, what made you like it before?
First off, having a dinosaur that was bigger than the T-Rex and was more powerful than the T-Rex, because they actually have about a 30-second fight between T-Rex and Spinosaurus, and Spinosaurus literally twist the T-Rex head around, you hear the neck crack.
I remember that now.
And it just drops. And then that's the moment when you're like, oh, shit. And you find out the thing can swim. They're on the boat, they think they're safe, and Spinosaurus is in the fucking water. And it's amphibious. But, it was trying to be more horror movie-like, but it was the type of horror movie where, I guess it was trying to be suspenseful, but it wasn't good at it. I don't know. It was trying to be like family suspenseful horror movie is what it was trying to do. Because all 4 of the Jurassic Park movies, you call them anything you want, all 4 of them are family movies. They're all family oriented movies. Even the first one. Think about all the carnage that happens. There's not a lot of blood or anything in these movies. There's not a lot of gore. So to me they're aimed more at family stuff, but yeah, I don't know. It was just,
I'm curious to go back and rewatch it, because that was my opinion too. That was my second favorite one, but now it sounds like you don't even know if you like Lost World less than it.
So I think I'm ranking Lost World above
3.
Above 3.
Now I'll have to borrow it from you to check it out again, because I'm curious.
But I especially love them because my 2 favorite characters from the first one always were Ian Malcolm, which was Jeff Goldblum, and then Sam Neill's character Alan Grant. Alan Grant was always my absolute favorite character, because I love dry humor, and he has that very dry sense of humor that he always has. And
Sam Neill's fucking great and everything.
Yes, he is. And, the sequels were they each got their own movie. So I fucking love all of them because I got more of those characters. But yeah, I mean, I think Lost World, if nothing else, it at least had a lot of good one-liners and stuff in it, and the story going back actually isn't like as bad. Okay, here's the thing. Anyone you talk to, including you, Jeff, oh yeah, I love that movie until the last 20 minutes, and then I fucking hate that movie. Like, I mean, I get...
Well, I think it has some goofy things even, like, before that. I mean, just...
What, anything in your memory specifically?
Oh, God, it's been, like, probably 10
outside of San Diego?
It's been probably 10 years since I've seen it, but I don't know. Like, they just... I like the cliff sequence where they have the trailers hanging off. That's a cool sequence.
That is probably the one thing I figured you would call out.
Oh, just out of being... I mean...
Out of how ridiculous that scene is.
Okay, here's my thing. How I was giving you shit about the car not starting.
Yeah.
Since they have dinosaurs, that goes out the window.
It's all irrelevant
Everything
anyway.
is bullshit. So, if everything is bullshit, nothing is bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like... What I don't like about it is the tone is a little more goofy in that one.
It is a lighter tone.
Because the way I look at it, and why I'm probably going to love the books once I get to read the books, is because in my mind, that should be a terrifying...
Dude, that first book is straight up fucking horror. Like,
Yeah.
it is Exorcist level gore and horror.
And I understand why Spielberg made it a family film, because dollar bills.
Yeah.
You can't make this much money off of R-rated just because, you need PG-13.
And I think it wasn't just that. Think about at the time period. We're talking 1993 for the first film. I think a lot of it wasn't just... a lot of it is, the family film equals more dollar signs because everybody can go. You don't have to find a babysitter and all that shit. But I think some of it also is technology at the time. There's always one movie that its entire goal is to show off some new technology or some new way of doing things. And watching that movie, dude, that movie was in 1993, and it looks as good as some movies that, are just a couple of years old or any TV show now. I'm
on record as being all for... Like, one of the things I'm most excited for in Star Wars Episode 7 is the return to practical effects.
Yeah.
I'm a total sucker for practical effects.
Here's the thing. There's a couple scenes that are all CGI in the first one, and then they go practical effects and blend the two. But, like, say in the first one, the first dinosaur they see, that Brachiosaurus, when they get out of the Jeeps and they're not even arrived at the gates yet, that scene is all CGI. But the level of detail, I mean, you can see every little line in the skin on the thing and everything, and the only thing that has aged in that scene is you can tell they're in front of a green screen.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that,
it looks damn good for a 23-year-old movie.
Everything it looks damn good. I mean, it still looks better than...
What year did it come out? Was it 93 when it came out?
93 is the first film. The Lost World, the graphics are just as good. And then you get to Jurassic Park 3 and you're like, what happened?
Yeah,
I think it was starting to wane, and that's when we're entering cash grab.
That, and to make it more profitable, they probably did give it a lower budget. And Spielberg commands a bigger budget than their director in that, which I believe was Joe Johnston, who also did Captain America, actually.
I believe you're right. But
yeah, he doesn't command the same budget Spielberg does. But, well, I like how earlier we said skip ahead a couple minutes. We now talked Jurassic Park for 20 minutes. So we're going to move on to another topic.
In our defense, we only talked Jurassic World for a couple minutes.
Yeah, let's just randomly talk about the special effects from the 90s in Jurassic Park. But we actually caught up. I had already seen it, but Ron got caught up on something else recently, and that was...
Finally.
Ron finally watched Daredevil 5 months after it came out.
Speaking of Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah. So what'd you think?
Fucking awesome, man.
So, here's my question for you. You've seen now Rated R Marvel.
Yes.
How excited are you to see Rated R Marvel Punisher in that show?
When they first announced that they were trying to do Punisher, and I had already seen the first 3 episodes of Daredevil, I was about ready to piss my pants when I heard they were going to throw Punisher into the mix.
And that was before you had even seen the shit in that show that makes it R.
Yeah.
Because there's some intense freaking scenes in that show.
Yeah, there are. So no,
I don't want to spoil. I mean, everyone's probably seen Daredevil by now, but I don't want to go into spoilers. But there is brutality in that show
on a scale you can't imagine in the Marvel universe.
Is it not refreshing getting the rated R like Netflix side of it? Because I much prefer that than like the okay. I'm probably saying this, weird, but what I was trying to say is I like the physicality of the action in Daredevil more than I do Age of Ultron.
Right. And I think what it is what have we had so far? 11 Marvel movies?
Yeah.
And back to our Jurassic Park discussion, they're all kind of lighthearted tone. They're family movies.
They're all the same formula we've seen done.
Yeah, they're all the same formula over and over and over. And, generally speaking, Marvel in itself is generally not a light tone, but a lighter tone than, say, DC. So, like you said, it was really refreshing to just get down to gritty fucking violence in Daredevil
and
rated R MCU.
We've talked about this off mic quite a bit, but I love how they're able to have time to develop the villains.
Yes.
Because if there is any complaint you can have about the MCU is other than Loki, the villains have been done pretty terribly for the most part.
See, and that's one thing that was interesting, because as far as TV shows go, we had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's the same tone as everything else. It even fits into the cinematic universe. So, and it's kind of a monster of the day kind of thing, like Scooby-Doo style
Monster of the Week
show.
Yeah,
Monster of the Week thing. So, yeah, Daredevil was interesting because we had the one villain. And we had some things happen here and there. We had other people show up, but they all somehow tied into the one villain, and we got to flesh out Kingpin, and we got to flesh out like all the characters really.
Yeah, other than Loki,
yeah,
the Kingpin is the most developed and I think best villain that they have in the MCU, which is cool because we've got rated R David Tennant coming up as a villain in the Jessica Jones show.
I cannot wait.
So I think
the world is ready too, because I've been seeing a lot more stuff on the internet, meme wise and everything, from like stills of Jessica Jones comics that people have screenshotted and stuff. So I think the world is getting ready for Jessica Jones.
But yeah, like you were saying, how it's really, I was really excited for Daredevil, but I was so pleasantly surprised by.
Well, Daredevil's your favorite Marvel anyway, right?
He's in
up there.
He's in my top 5. My favorite ones, and the kind of switch rankings, are usually Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Captain America. Usually are up there, and it kind of depends on I have never really hard ranked them. I think because they change so often, but he's one of my favorites, and they casted every freaking character on that show beautifully. Yes. Everyone is amazing.
Well, that's the one thing about Marvel we've talked a lot about, is they really don't let you down on casting.
Mm-mm.
So this is a perfect segue, I think, into our first topic halfway through the show.
Yeah, we're going to actually have to lightning round
after
our first, starting with our first topic. Yeah, but it looks like we have a new Spider-Man.
Finally, last time we reported how Sony and Marvel were not playing nice. They were not getting along. They could not make a decision, and Asa Butterfield was no longer in the talks to be Spider-Man. Still no real definitive word why. There's a lot of rumors as to why, but a lot of people think it's the non-disclosure agreement. Some people think it's they never actually reached an agreement. I don't know. But that's not here nor there, because now we've got Tom Holland. Don't really know who he is.
Is he British? I was under the assumption that he is British, which UK.
Yeah.
So apparently, if you're British, you can act. I don't know if this is in their DNA, but I honestly can't tell you a British actor is bad.
Of the 4 things he's known for, something had to have gotten the Secret World of Verity. Something had to have gotten Feige's attention.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is absolute faith in their casting.
Yes.
A little concerned because it's half Sony, and I don't have as much faith in them as I do Marvel, but they did cast Andrew Garfield, and I loved Andrew Garfield in the role too. So, they already did well in their last choice with Andrew Garfield, and now they have Feige helping them. So,
yeah, and he kind of looks the part, and One thing that we also talked about last time is we're afraid of them going too young of an actor since they're aiming for high school level. The kid's 19, so to me, he's at a pretty good age where he's old enough to handle the character. He's old enough to handle the movie and everything, but yet he still looks young enough to be 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, he looks the part definitely.
And the most important part for Marvel and Sony, the real life part, is he can be their cash cow for the next 20 years since he's only 19.
Which they definitely needed because all the Avengers guys are starting to reach, if they're not getting at the end of their contracts, it's on the horizon.
And then you have like Robert Downey Jr. has been their Titan, and he's ready to move on.
He's been doing it for what, 7 years now?
Something like that. And he, as much as he said he loves Tony Stark, he's ready to move on, branch out to other projects.
Because it's when you're in Marvel, you're in Marvel.
Yeah,
and
they own you.
Like I think they said that they're filming the Avengers 3 and 4, whatever you want to call it, the Infinity War movies back to back, and that was like a 7-month process.
Yes,
like that's a long time to film a movie.
So, and then we also got a director in the announcement, John Watts. Not real familiar with him either.
The only one I was familiar with, I have not seen, but it is the cop car movie with Kevin Bacon.
Okay,
that's the movie I believe he is most known for. Which this was a little more shocking to me than the actor choice, because I actually like it when they're able to pick no-name actors,
right?
Because it works really well with Game of Thrones. If they're so no-name that you have no preconceived notion of them, then they're that character to you.
Yeah.
So if this kid's good, he is Peter Parker to me because
he'll always be the face of Peter Parker.
Yeah, because I don't look at him and you see Ben Affleck when you see Batman.
Right.
This kid, you have no notion of him at all.
Right.
So he'll just be Peter Parker if he's good. So, but yeah, the director has literally done that movie with Kevin Bacon and I think a couple of horror films. So he's really, really off the wall choice, which, I still have faith in Kevin Feige, but I mean,
yeah, it's definitely interesting. Again, something in his slate must have caught Feige's attention. Nothing real in here. A lot of these do seem to be horror movies. We're looking at IMDb right now, and that could be interesting. As we've talked about how Doctor Strange, there might be taking a kind of dark turn on it. I don't think, while Spider-Man would work dark, I don't think they would go dark.
No way.
But they could do darker villains.
Yeah, like it would work with Venom and Carnage pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, imagine a horror movie director and some horror movie writers with Carnage.
Or you know what villain they've never done in live action? I think would actually be kind of cool is Kraven. They've never really done Kraven. I would like to see him. Then
you could get on track for the Man Spider.
Yeah,
you've already got Punisher and everybody else in there. You get Kraven the Hunter.
Even if they had Kraven as like a sub villain, I think he'd be cool as. I
want to see Mysterio at some point.
Mysterio definitely needs to be done too. Mysterio is an amazing character that's never really been touched at all.
The irony that the guy was a special effects guy before he turned supervillain. Imagine the special effects we have today, what we could do with Mysterio.
It'd be pretty damn cool.
So, yeah. Speaking of Marvel directors, though, some interesting news. It looks like they are thinking about bringing, is it Kenneth
Branagh?
Thank you. Kenneth Branagh. Something about that name, I can't flow it. Kenneth Branagh?
I don't know. I think it's Branagh, but I don't know how to pronounce his name for sure.
I don't know. What's his fuck from Thor 1 could be returning to direct Thor 3. So we just thought that was interesting to throw out there that they decided, that whole Thor 2 thing, let's go back to Thor 1.
Which I'm all for because I think the best way Thor himself has been presented so far is in Thor 1.
Yes.
Because, Whedon writes some good lines for Thor here and there, but you can tell he doesn't really care for Thor because he's barely in the fucking Avengers movies.
Yeah.
So, if they can get Kenneth Branagh back, I think...
Thor was the most interesting in Thor 1.
Yeah, definitely.
Out of 2 Avengers movies and 2 Thor movies.
And the way we see Thor now, that's all Kenneth Branagh because he has a Shakespearean background, literally, because he does a lot of the Broadway stuff for Shakespeare. So, he was able to bring that, but not make it goofy. Still have no fucking clue how they made Thor 1 as good as it is. Thor has no business working in a movie at all, but it works perfectly in those.
And that's why. It's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy line. It's basically no one really gives a shit, so they can do almost anything they want with the property. And
making it, because I don't know if you've ever read Thor in a comic at all, but they actually write it out. Shakespearean almost. It's very
Yeah.
strange. So that was one of the reasons I was very, very
Not
surprised that they made it work.
since we are trying to like lightning around this, since somehow we're still only halfway through the show. Did you feel that the Phase 2 movies, with the exception of Winter Soldier, were not as strong as the Phase 1 movies?
Let's see. Okay, Phase 2, we're talking
Iron Man 3.
Okay.
We got Thor 2. Winter Soldier, to me, is the one standout. To me, that was stronger than the original Captain America.
Yeah, and I really, really did like Guardians. Guardians has real big issues with the villain, but other than that, I really liked Guardians of the Galaxy. So,
but like definitely Thor 2 and Iron Man 3 to me, and Age of Ultron, we've talked a lot about, did not feel as strong as their Phase 1 counterparts.
Age of Ultron, glaringly worse than the first Avengers, but
I feel like what happened is, I've done a lot of thinking about this, and when we talked about Age of Ultron, we talked about how we think the studio might have been forcing its way into Joss Whedon's process a little bit,
and he didn't have enough time to do the process anyway because they were having to rush it.
They're like, you need to set up Wakanda, you need to set up this and that, you need to devote a whole scene of your movie to Civil War.
Yeah, the guy who's Smeagol, what's that actor's name?
Andy Serkis.
Yeah, he's literally only in that movie because of Black Panther setup.
Yeah.
That's his only purpose.
Yeah, we just needed to cut off his hand so we could get into Wakanda, and he already has whatever he's got.
So, when you're already trying to balance as many characters as they have to do, when you're having to balance characters like that, plot and cameos for shit in the future, that's it.
I think Phase 3 is going to be interesting because Phase 1, I feel like everyone was given a property and said go to town, and then Phase 2, it's okay. Now that we've proven how good you guys all are, we also want you to do this, this, and this, and the studio got heavy-handed in it. Now I feel like I feel like a lot of people everyone generally likes all the movies, feel like those are definitely weaker than their counterparts, that maybe in Phase 3 they'll kind of step back like they did in Phase 1.
It also had a lot to do with, we've been talking about the directors, but I think every single property changed directors in the second phase, other than Avengers.
Yeah.
All the solo movies, I mean, Guardians doesn't count because it was its first new thing.
Right.
And that's one of the things it has going for it, is because you didn't have something else to compare it to. It's just Guardians.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it worked with Captain America because Winter Soldier is one of the best movies they've done.
Yeah. Out of everything they've done, Winter Soldier is fucking fantastic.
And I really like how they were able to keep James Gunn on for Guardians.
Yeah.
For the sequel to that. So that's part of Phase 3 that I feel really strongly about.
Well, at this point, there's probably no one else that can pull off Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, you have to be
James Gunn kind of made that his thing.
You have to be batshit to be able to make that work. And we like who they have going with Doctor Strange. We feel really strongly about that.
I like everything I have heard about that movie so far. I am very excited.
I think we talked about that's, other than Civil War, that's the most exciting.
And that's yet another property like Thor we've never seen before in film. And, I mean, you don't really see much of it even in comics. It's an open book. And
with the special effects, the way they are now, like you said earlier, they can do anything with those weird dimensions he goes into. It could look beautiful, like just the way they're able to make...
Or horrifying, considering however direction they go with it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited for that, though.
So, I guess speaking of horrifying... the rumor has it in late 2018 we could be getting Indiana Jones 5. Now,
it could be good, could be horrible.
Exactly. So. See, here's the thing. I liked Crystal Skull. I am sorry in advance, but I liked... No, you know what? I'm not sorry. I liked that movie so much. I'm not sorry about it.
I definitely think it's better than the entire internet gives it credit for, because the entire internet thinks it's shit.
Yeah.
I do think there are some legitimate problems with it.
To me,
mostly everything with Shia LaBeouf.
I was going to say, to me, you take out Shia LaBeouf, and that movie automatically goes up like 2 stars.
I do think it is probably on the same level as Temple of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
As because, dude, that woman in Temple of Doom, was it Willie? Is that the character's name?
I think so.
She screams that entire movie, and it is nails on a chalkboard.
I could not stand her.
If you're going to give...
I was like, please, Kali Ma her. Like, please.
If you're going to give Crystal Skull shit for Shia LaBeouf, you got to go back and look. I mean, Temple of Doom had issues, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean... Also... spoilers for Crystal Skull that came out like fucking 12 years ago. But how we were talking earlier, people were like, this is bullshit in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
People complaining about aliens and when they had face-melting angels? Really?
Yeah.
And the freaking Holy Grail, which kept it alive for like 3,000 years.
Yeah.
But we're calling bullshit on aliens, which is way more probable than anything in the original
movies. What a lot of people really, I guess, don't understand is there really are crystal skulls out there. We don't know where they came from. There's no tool marks on them. And the leading accepted theory by scientists is that they are extraterrestrial in origin. So it doesn't even deviate from the original 3 where they tried to take historical facts and write a work of fiction off of them. It did the same thing. It had the same formula as the other 3.
But there was one interesting topic to bring up about Indiana Jones 5, and what odds do we give Chris Pratt on being Indiana Jones? Because he can pretty much right now choose anything he wants. He's already associated heavily with Disney through Marvel.
I think there's a good, probably 75% chance, 70 to 75% chance that it's going to be Chris Pratt. Because he turned down Uncharted, right?
Which, to me, the only reason you would
is if you already knew something.
Because they can very easily have been talking to him, even... Like, I don't know if you heard, but there was a rumor going around back in like February that Steven Spielberg himself was talking at Chris Pratt as Indiana Jones, and that was before Jurassic World hit huge.
Yes, and Mark Bernardin, you know, I really paid attention to this when we watched it because we listened to Mark Bernardin and Kevin Smith do our fucking show, but more popular. I
think every show is more popular than our show,
right? But, you know, he described Chris Pratt in Jurassic World as very Han Solo / Indiana Jones-ish, which, to me, it felt more like Nathan Drake from Uncharted, but...
He's honestly more Han Solo / Indiana Jones and Guardians than he is in Jurassic World.
So, you know, it's... He wouldn't be my top pick for Indiana Jones, but he'd definitely be in my top 3 for Indiana Jones, so I'd be fine with him being Indiana
I'd
Jones.
be all for. I mean, are you referencing Carl Urban?
Yes,
our boy.
Always.
We want Carl Urban to be Batman,
Indiana
Jones, everything.
Yeah.
Dude can do no wrong. But yeah, out of the realistic choices, I think Chris Pratt would be fantastic.
Yeah, and he's already part of Disney because of Guardians of the Galaxy. He's already part of the Marvel Universe.
And how can you not like Chris Pratt? Because just as far as the dude himself, everyone loves that guy.
Yeah, I was going to say the dude in real life is like one of the nicest guys out there. He's one of the nicest guys around. Back to Kevin Smith, he talked a lot about that in one of their podcasts, how he's just the nicest, sweetest guy. So, but yeah, it could be interesting. We'll be hearing more about that soon because I don't know, we're halfway through 2015, so they're going to have to start cranking out some casting choices and stuff for that movie in the next few months.
I bet if we're going to hear anything this year, it's going to be at the D23
in August.
Yeah, the Disney Comic-Con type thing they're doing.
It'll be interesting. We'll find out.
But yeah, speaking of conventions, there was one news article we saw about how not only is Marvel not going to be showing up at Comic-Con this year, but Sony and Paramount are also going to be skipping Comic-Con this year, which begs the question, what the fuck is happening at Comic-Con this year?
What is the point in even going?
If I said this earlier off mic, if I had pre-ordered Hall H.
Yes.
Which, I don't know if you know this about Comic-Con, but you either go to Comic-Con or you go to Hall H.
Yeah.
Because they have to come out like literally 3 freaking days to get into Hall H and do anything. So I would be livid if I just found out in the last like couple of weeks before the con
and all you're getting is DC.
All you're getting is DC, which is very, very likely going to be terrible.
I hope you're a huge DC fan if you're going to Hall H.
I hope you like the Batfleck. But yeah, this means at Comic-Con there is no Marvel, there is no Star Wars, there is no Ninja Turtles, there is no Star Trek 3. There is no Transformers. What the hell is happening at Comic-Con? I don't understand.
It's just a con at this point.
They've already showed half the Suicide Squad movie. What the fuck are they going to talk about that?
It's like at this point it's just a web series. So I don't know.
It's just very, very odd because what is that?
Okay, here's the other question. Marvel we already know is front and center at D23 this year. So, what's the story with Paramount and Sony? Where are they? I mean, there is no news out there because we're so close to Comic-Con.
Well,
but no one is going to be at Comic-Con, so why not just release your fucking news?
Paramount, I have no idea.
Uh-huh.
Sony is associated with Spider-Man, and they can let Disney go and do their shit with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But as far as, Spider-Man isn't the only Sony property going, because aren't they also
Fantastic Four?
Yeah, they're doing, or is that Fox?
That's Fox.
But I believe, is it Sony that's doing the Warcraft movie? So does that mean there's no Warcraft either?
I don't know.
And Paramount...
Who is doing the Warcraft movie?
I want to say it was Sony, but I'm not 100% sure. Ron's going to check that. But with, I believe... One of the only franchises I saw that was actually going to be premiering at Comic-Con this year, other than the DC stuff, was Hunger Games. It's like, woohoo, Hunger Games, but we're not getting anything else. I mean, is this going to be kind of a sad Comic-Con? Because
Legendary Pictures.
So it wasn't Sony?
No.
I don't know why I was thinking it was Sony. Oh, maybe because it was originally Sam Raimi was associated with it.
The project is Legendary Pictures, and it's being released by Universal Pictures.
Okay, I think originally it was going to be Sony back when Sam Raimi was in talks with it.
I don't know. I haven't looked into Universal. If Universal's going, we could see more Warcraft stuff.
Okay, yeah, we'll at least get something. But, Comic-Con is one of my favorite times of the year because I'm glued to my computer.
It's Christmas. If you're a geek, it's Christmas.
I'm looking up, all the leaked... fan shot footage. They steal the trailers,
before YouTube takes it down.
Yeah, but Comic-Con is looking pretty sad this year, and it makes me sad.
And what's that going to do to Comic-Con? I mean, if that starts becoming a trend, what's the point in even going to Comic-Con?
Well, there's no point in going to the press conferences, but people will still love going to just the show,
right?
Because like I was saying, you either go to Hall H or you go to Comic-Con. Comic-Con's still going to be huge because, that thing's sold out of just the floor.
But I mean,
as far as,
like you said, you either go to Comic-Con or Hall H. That's two halves.
There is no reason to go to the press conferences now. Yeah. There's literally no reason to go. Why you would camp? I mean, I wouldn't.
Because there's a lot of people that would be only going to Hall H and not caring about the rest of the con. You're going to lose every one of them.
That's a whole lot of people, and that's their big draw. You know? But
it meets the fucking Avengers, right? I mean, they're not even going.
Really, really odd. But that's the. It looks like that's the last Marvel story we have. So we have some other movie stories going on though. That Independence Day sequel finally got a title, and it is Independence Day Resurgence.
Which I am curious about. It's a really cool title, but I'm curious what's resurging.
Not Will Smith.
Not Will Smith.
Will Smith kind of said, "Go fuck yourself."
The girl that played Will Smith's girlfriend / fiance or whatever in the first one, she signed back up
because she literally had nothing else happening since that movie 20 years ago.
But we still have no word from Will Smith on
he's not coming
why.
back.
Yeah,
I think he's way too big for Independence Day anymore. I mean, Jeff Goldblum came back. What the fuck else was Jeff Goldblum going to do?
Right. Oh, he could be doing more Apartment Finder commercials.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah,
as Ian Malcolm.
But I mean, I liked it as a kid, but I was never a big Independence Day fan. But you're looking forward to it, I'm assuming, or are you hesitant about this?
I'm pretty hesitant about it because,
like, what are they going to do?
Yeah, what the fuck are they going to do? They specifically said when Bill Pullman saw into the creature's mind that their entire civilization is on that mothership, and they blew up every goddamn ship. The mothership, the other ships crashed. I mean, is it just a rebel faction of those ones that survived the ships crashing? I mean, after all this time, we're finally resurging. I don't understand what.
Yeah, I have no idea
what the enemy is. But one of the cool things, though, I like is it is X amount of years. I'm assuming it's going to do like a lot of more modern sequels have been doing, where if it's been 20 years since the original property, it's been 20 years in the movie also, because there was 99 screenshots. Why 99 set shots? I don't know. Why just throw the other one in as a bonus, please? Make it 100. But
also, 80 of them were selfies with the cast. So it's like, what's the point?
But there was some cool ones in there. There's one that looks like, I don't know if it's like an F-22 Raptor or something, but it has alien tech for the engines. And then there's another one that we have, like an Earth Siege mech warrior type robot thing.
Yeah,
Robot
it was
Wars
like half VTOL, half mech. It was very weird.
Yeah, it was very weird, and it had alien tech all over it from the. I don't think we ever got the name of the alien race in the first movie.
Welcome to Earth. That's all I remember about it.
But yeah, I don't know. It looks like that we've definitely created some war machines out of the alien tech we got at the end of that movie, and I'm assuming that's going to cause some problems as well.
Did they have a director yet for this?
I'm not sure. Actually, that's one thing I did not look up before we decided to talk about it. Let me look that up as well.
Was that did Roland Emmerich do the original one?
Jeff, you're asking me. Did you see that? Hold on.
Oh, so they had Roland Emmerich back. Cool. So he did do the original one. I'm assuming if they brought him back for that one.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Have they already announced a third one?
I mean, everything at this point, I think that they'll put a possible, sequel on
if you go to IMDb and start typing in Independence Day, you'll get Independence Day 3 as well. That's what I was staring at and pointing at my screen. But yeah, so I don't know enough about the first film. I was too young. I don't know if those writers were.
I believe Roland Emmerich did do the original one, but I'm assuming the writers are going to be all different because
it looks like they'll have the screenplay.
Typically, writers don't have as long of a shelf life in Hollywood as directors do.
Let's see. Yeah, he did the original one. But yeah, no, I don't know.
You're intrigued but hesitant.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, was it supposed to come out next year?
2016, June 24th.
We shall see with that one. I mean, like I said, not a big Independence Day fan. I liked it as a kid, but it's another one of those.
Oh, dude, I had all the toys. I had the spaceship. I had all the Supreme Commander. I had every type of alien.
So were you about 10 years old when it came out?
I should have, when I had that up, I should have looked at what year that came out.
Mid-90s, so
I would have been about 10.
Yeah, I was about 5, so I wasn't really old enough to really even understand what it was about.
Right.
So maybe if I'd been a little older.
Yeah, I would have been about 10, 11, probably.
But we had some more sequel news come out this week, and that is a rumor that Viggo Mortensen is in talks to be the villain of Bourne 5.
Again, here's where you and I switch, because I have yet to ever see a Bourne movie, nor do I care about any of the Bourne movies.
Because you, for some unknown reason, you can't stand Matt Damon.
It just fucking annoys me, man.
You haven't seen any movies with Matt Damon in it. You haven't seen Good Will Hunting. You haven't seen any of the 12 Bourne movies. But I digress. I think Viggo Mortensen is a badass and would be an awesome villain in those movies.
Dude, he'd be awesome in anything.
Yeah, he's probably my favorite character in Lord of the Rings. So anything Viggo Mortensen.
What was that movie that he was like a Russian mob dude or something?
Oh God, probably have to go to IMDb for that one. It's not History of Violence. Eastern Promises. That's the one where he's the Russian dude.
Okay.
That's the one with the infamous naked Viggo fight scene.
Okay.
Eastern Promises.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I remember hearing about that one.
I haven't either, but I heard it was actually pretty good.
I will watch anything with Viggo Mortensen. I love that dude.
Naked or not?
Especially naked. But I digress again after Ron had to get that little fact out of me. But, so you're... Okay, if this becomes true and Viggo Mortensen's the bad guy in Bourne 5... would you maybe go back and maybe try one of them?
If I was going to try any of them, I'd be more inclined probably to do the Jeremy Renner one.
See, that's the one that's not as good because the writer and directors were...
Well, see, so I wouldn't know the difference.
But, dude...
the look on your face. You didn't even know how to respond to that.
You don't like Matt Damon, but they had some awesome villains. You probably don't know this because you haven't seen them, but in the first one, the villain's Clive Owen.
Uh-huh.
And in the second one, Carl Urban is the villain.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone talk about the villains. I've only ever heard people talk about Matt Damon. I didn't even realize there was any villains.
So maybe we should at least watch the second one because bad guy assassin Carl Urban going after Matt Damon. That sounds like your favorite movie of all time.
Except he's going to lose because there was a third one. So
yeah, you'll like it.
But yeah, I'll watch Dredd chase anyone.
Yeah, I mean he's an awesome assassin in that too. But let's see. Next up in the news was my favorite actor ever, The Rock, is going to be in another movie. Imagine that. So at this point, Can we have like one movie that doesn't have The Rock in it?
You had a little bit of a break in there somewhere.
I had a little bit. I mean,
a few months ago.
I don't hate The Rock, but he doesn't have to be in every...
And now we know why, because he's busy filming his show for HBO, most likely.
And, I mean, like, what really annoyed me was G.I. Joe. Don't even really care for G.I. Joe that much personally, but they killed, like, the entire cast just to have The Rock in the sequel. It's like, come on, guys. That's pretty shitty. But
I still need to see the sequel.
I haven't seen the sequel either.
What the hell are you bitching about?
Because they killed, like, the entire cast just to have The Rock in the sequel.
You're sitting here sounding like you know exactly what you're talking about. You don't know any more about it than I do.
No, they literally got rid of the entire cast just to pay for The Rock's salary. Like, Channing Tatum, like, all of them got axed for the sequel.
I didn't care much for Channing Tatum and...
Well, I mean, I didn't either, but I just thought it was shitty.
So what are you bitching about?
Because it's shitty how they got rid of everyone. Just let's move on. But he's gonna be in this movie based off Rampage, which is what was it, like a Super Nintendo or NES game from the 80s?
I know it was in '86, so I'm gonna say that's probably NES, if not SNES.
Yeah, neither one of us have ever played a Rampage game, so
and I mean there was one on PS3 and 360.
You literally just added this to push my buttons because I get annoyed at The Rock being in every movie franchise.
Well, yeah, I added it to push your buttons, but I didn't realize that you're going to talk about shit you don't even know about either.
That's all we do is talk about shit we don't know about.
Touche, good sir.
We just had an E3 podcast. We haven't played a video game in the last like 2 years.
Halo 5, yay.
Gears 4, yay. But this was something we were actually both interested in, and that was they have a new trailer out for Attack on Titan. Is it Japanese live action?
Yeah,
and it's looking pretty terrifying.
Yeah, we hadn't mentioned this before, but we're also anime nerds, and
you more than me. I like anime, but you own like every anime ever invented. So,
well, okay. If you haven't seen most likely you've seen Attack on Titan. If you haven't seen the live action trailers that are coming out of Japan, I encourage you to go to YouTube because there's some pretty fucking terrifying things in that trailer. The Titans they did very, very well with. Now, what I am going to go ahead and say is everything that I have ever seen that Japan turns to live action is fucking awful story-wise, but the one thing that they always deliver on is the graphics.
And it looks pretty freaking sick.
Yeah, it does. Dude, that skinless one looking over the wall and everything. And you remember like how if you cut them or whatever, the steam because their body's so hot? He's got fucking steam around him all the time anyway, which I'm assuming helps on the graphics budget since they had so much. But it looks good. Like they don't... Like it's, I mean, they're clearly trying to hide part of his body and stuff in it, like obscure him a bit, but it doesn't take away from it the way they've done it.
They did really, really great with the faces because that's the most memorable thing about the show is just how creepy some of their faces are.
Yeah. So, and then we added this also because there was a new Attack on Titan live action trailer that kind of shows a little bit of how they're going to do the omnidirectional gear. And it looked pretty sick. It was pretty awesome. Spider-Man with swords, man. Up against fucking
You just
Goliath.
sold me. All you had to freaking say is Spider-Man with swords. That's pretty much what they are in that show.
Yeah, it's great.
Definitely check out the anime on Netflix. I believe, is it still on Netflix?
I believe it is.
Check it out if you have. I believe it's still subtitled.
Yes.
On Netflix, so you would have to seek it out on probably Adult Swim or something like that.
Funimation is actually the one that did the dub. So if you subscribe to Funimation, like on, I don't know about 360. I know Funimation has an app on PlayStation you can subscribe to. It's probably on there in English dub, and the DVD and Blu-ray box sets are like at Best Buy and Walmart. Target doesn't do in store anymore, but I was just at Walmart today and they still have them there.
Definitely check it out. It's a cool anime.
They did do the bullshit thing of splitting, like season 1, volume 1, season 1, volume 2.
I freaking hate it when they do that. It's so annoying.
It's one of the main things we talked about off mic before we move on. The reason that I know story wise this movie's going to suck is because they haven't said it's going to be a multiple part movie. And what me and Geoff were talking about was this show has 26 episodes to its first season, and there's no filler. It's all important story, every bit of it.
Which is so refreshing for anime, because anime never does that.
There's like 8 or 9 episodes that's one battle.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons it gripped me so much, because most anime is self-contained episode format, where
like it was Breaking Bad level gripping.
And
for 26 episodes, no filler, and they've only announced the one live action movie. There's no way they can get what they need out of that movie.
Yeah, I mean, but we could watch it without even English subtitles and probably enjoy it just watching it.
But my prediction is it's going to kill at box office over there. It'll come over here. It'll do good enough to probably get like a B-level American-made movie off of it, with all American actors.
And I think that's probably going to be awful, because
it will.
Yeah,
but
we'll at least have that second season come out eventually.
If nothing else, we'll probably get that as like a Fathom event in movie theaters or something.
That's probably a good call,
because we did that with Death Note.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I think
Fathom event. So we wanted to talk about in this next story. We talked last time about Sir Christopher Lee and how much he devoted to our childhood. We lost another one.
It's been a rough year, man.
It has. Another plane crash.
Yeah, people in Hollywood need to quit getting on planes.
Seriously. Just fucking drive or walk everywhere. James Horner. You might not know the name, but you know the work. He was a musical composer for just about every movie you've ever seen. One of the most, if not the most prolific composers as far as longevity. You know, he's been doing movies since the 70s. It's crazy. Yeah, he was 61 years old. He has not been heard of since his plane went missing, and they have found the plane. And it's just a tragic tale all the way around. But some memorable things that you probably know. Just about everyone has seen or heard of at least the Titanic movie.
Unfortunately,
the 2 awards that he won was for the main score and My Heart Will Go On. In those, he did the score for Braveheart. He did the score for James Cameron's Avatar, Beautiful Mind, I can't talk anymore. Field of Dreams. I took off my glasses and I can't fucking talk. How is that even related? Apollo 13, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, An American Tale. That was a surprising one. I didn't realize he was involved in that. And Aliens in 1986. Ridley Scott. And, I mean, if you go to IMDb, I think they credit him with, what did we say, like 175 things or something, or 125 things. Wikipedia says he's credited to 150 things.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, he's had his hand in everything. So you most likely know his work if you don't know the name. So we lost another one this year. Yeah, we are doing There Will Be Expletives. Pouring one out for old James Horner. He will be missed. He will be missed, definitely. So I guess speaking of things that will be missed, in TV news, the one story we have in TV news, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I did not know this was a thing, so it's probably why it got canceled. But I've told you about this before, but I think it went over your head. But Hannibal is 3 episodes into season 3 when it got canceled, which is freaking weird. By the way, I made that a note because why the hell would you announce a cancellation 3 episodes into the season? That's doing nothing but hurting your own ratings. Yeah, because some people are going to be like, "Well, it's canceled. Why should I keep watching?" Yeah, that's freaking. This is also NBC. The fuckers who canceled Constantine. It's like, do you guys want people? See, if you told me that before, you got more passion out of me about this, dude. This is bullshit. It's like, they're okay, Constantine's one thing. At least we got the season. Hannibal is their only critically acclaimed show. Is it? To the point to where, do you remember when Constantine got canceled? Everyone freaked out trying to save it. Yeah. The reaction to Hannibal has been the opposite. It has been, oh, you guys fucked up. It's getting picked up. It's just a matter of time. Yeah. Because someone's going to pick up Hannibal, because that show, you haven't seen it, but other than Game of Thrones... We've made that abundantly clear. Other than Game of Thrones, I think it has the best acting on TV. Really? It's that good. Mads Mikkelsen has... he plays Hannibal Lecter in the show. I like him better than any of the movie representations. Really? Because what he is you know, when you saw Hannibal, right?
I believe you said the one with Ray Liotta.
Yes. Long time ago.
So you've seen it, but you're familiar with how Anthony Hopkins is over the top crazy.
Yeah.
The way that they do
yes and no.
The way that they do Hannibal Lecter in the show is he's subtly crazy to where you can actually buy people not knowing that he is who he is. Because with Anthony Hopkins, he's so, especially in Silence of the Lambs, he's so over the top sinister. You're like, really, none of you guys knew he was a bad guy? Mm-hmm. But yeah, the show's been fantastic. I am one of the people that I also think it's just a matter of time before it gets picked up back up, because it has been a huge success critically. Like, I think not on IMDb, but on like Rotten Tomatoes.
Did they give a reason as to why they were canceling it?
I haven't heard one yet.
But if it's critically acclaimed, I can't imagine it wasn't getting ratings.
It was one of those that it had decent ratings enough to where they didn't just outright cancel it, but it wasn't being kept afloat just by the ratings. A lot of it was critical. And the only thing I can maybe think of is they had like a falling out with the creator. Brian Fuller has been the creator of the show. I believe he might be one of those who's recognized being maybe kind of stubborn dealing with the executives. Yeah. So maybe that's a reason that, maybe they got into it over something. But yeah, I do think it will be picked back up. I don't think it'll be missed for long. I think it'll be back. But yeah, is that just weird and idiotic to cancel it 3 episodes in?
That really is
stupid.
You'd think you'd wait later in the season to announce that. I mean, are they just completely pulling it, or are they still going to air the rest of the season?
I believe they're still going to air. I think they are going to air the rest of the episodes.
Well, then either the ratings are going to go down, or it's going to have the best ratings it's ever had. One of the two.
Yeah, but either way, they don't want to continue it, so it's like, why not just let it go and then announce it's canceled after the season? Yeah, I don't know. It was just very weird. I think we'll see it back, but it was a slow TV news week, because that was the only TV news we had. But we did have some gaming news we wanted to get to, and that is Ron's favorite game of all time, Final Fantasy VII. I think we talked about that for like 10 minutes last episode.
Something like that.
That was one of the ones we did not lightning round, was Final Fantasy VII in the E3 podcast.
Yeah, well, I have like the general opposite opinion of the rest of the world, and I've yet to talk to anyone that agrees with me about the remake, which I do not fucking want. I don't know. They're just they did quell one of the rumors, though, and I am holding up my hand for those that wish to know what we're doing in here. They did quell one rumor, and that was that we know they're changing some of the story elements, which pisses me off. But one of the rumors was also they're adding some new characters, which, my God, man, there's already 9 controllable characters to the original game. We do not need more. This isn't Pokemon, goddammit. And they said, no, there's no new characters being brought in. That being said, they didn't say they were removing any. They didn't say yes or no to that one. But they're not bringing any new characters to the remake. But again, not here nor there, because this piece of news was not about the remake, so we're already over time, so I don't want to get too much into that. But what we did want to talk about was the port that was done to Steam. Is that the one that we have down is coming to PS4?
Yep, on October 16th.
So now, is this now able to happen because the PS4 is on x86 architecture? Is that why they're able to finally port the Steam version? The
PS3 is infamous for having asinine infrastructure in it, as far as, it took them freaking months to even get Skyrim ported over to PS3, and some of the DLCs for Skyrim had issues and stuff like that. So yeah, the PS4 finally having similar architecture, I'm sure, is one of the biggest reasons it's able to happen. And this probably wouldn't have happened if they weren't having the remake. Because everyone's going gaga over Final Fantasy VII, and they're gonna milk it for every dollar they can get out of it.
Yeah, they're gonna make a ton off of it.
Yeah, they could probably release that freaking port for $60, make $1 billion, and then make the remake, make another $1 billion. Yeah. It's so profitable, and everyone loves it. That other than you, everyone's probably already pre-ordered it. They're so excited for it.
I just can't get over it. But my understanding about the Steam version is that it has some slightly higher resolution, which even for a PS1 game, it was kind of grainy, but I mean, it was 3 discs, and it had cutting edge cinematics and everything, they were kind of hard pressed for space on the disc to not go into a fourth disc. So it was a little bit grainy even for back then, but at the same time it was still mind-blowing graphics. Because I mean, their backdrops, like you talk about like Batman the Animated Series backdrops and backgrounds and stuff, like it was that level, if not beyond that level, backgrounds that they did. And so I hear that the Steam one is somewhat higher resolution, but it is the same game for the most part. It does have a few extra things in it, like it has like some built-in like cheats, like you just push a button and you have like infinite money and stuff like that into it. But I don't know, money was never an issue for me in that game. I always made more than I could spend in that game. So, but I don't know. As much as I've always wanted the Steam version, because I am such a big fan, it's like $11 on Steam, which that price may be going up if it's going to be on PS4 also. I don't know. But with the remake coming out and stuff, I don't know. But it's like $11, and I'm still waiting for a good Steam sale on it before I buy it, because I already have the PS3 version. So, which, by the way, is fucking fun on a PSP. Having Final Fantasy VII in your hand somewhere. Yeah. Fun. Speaking of PC ports, though, this is kind of heartbreaking. We are recording on Tuesday, the same Tuesday that Arkham Knight was released to the world, and oh my god! Like I got my Arkham Knight limited edition PlayStation 4 in today.
Humble brag.
Oh yeah. Hashtag not so humble brag. It's fucking gorgeous, man. And I got the game in, and everyone I know has played the game but me. But I took off work tomorrow to play it, so I'll be playing through it as much as I can. But I mean, I've heard nothing but amazing things about the console version. But if you look at IGN or any news source, things are not so smooth for the PC version. I guess something went horribly wrong in the process to port it, which Rocksteady immediately took to their publicists and had them say, just so you know, we didn't actually do that PC port. That was totally these other assholes who are never going to work in this industry again. Yeah, it literally says about halfway through, we're working closely with our external PC development partner to make sure that these issues get resolved as quickly as possible. So, yeah, they are basically just like, he did it. And apparently what is happening is, and I'm looking at this on IGN, and IGN said even they suffered these same issues when they were playing it. Frequent stuttering. I swear to God, I need to put my glasses back on so I can speak. Frequent stuttering and audio glitches while moving around through the open world. And Steam users are tearing the game apart, apparently, for that. But here's the one that also has me worried. Evidently, there has been a cap placed on the frame rate at 30 frames per second. Does that sound an awful lot to you like Watch Dogs from Ubisoft? Was that Ubisoft?
That was Ubisoft that had Watch Dogs, yeah.
They notoriously did basically the same thing, just to make the console version sell over the PC version. No word yet on why this was capped at 30 frames per second, but
there's no reason to do that anymore, though, because they're on the same level.
Yeah,
computer now. The computers were miles ahead of 360 and PS3, but now there is no reason to do that. So what the fuck are they having this cap on there for?
I have no idea, but fortunately, I'm not going to go into the details, but go to IGN and search IGN for Arkham Knight PC issues. That's what I did. I got the top story, which is the one we're looking at, because there's apparently a workaround where you can go into the game's configuration file and you can actually change the cap from 30 frames per second to 9,999 and get your 60 frames per second or whatever it is your graphics card is going to allow. And they tell you how to do that in the article. So if you have the Steam version, so far there's nothing about the stuttering issues that you can do, but you can change the frame rate.
Which was so weird because I'm about 10 hours into the game on PS4. I've had one 1 second instance of frame rate issues, and everything else has been flawless. So how the hell that they had all this happen and their PC QA didn't catch it is a little weird to me, because if it's that widespread, it was in there the whole time.
I wonder what it has to do with, because they said it only happens in the open world, and the game has no loading screens. It's rendered in real time, so there must be something when they ported it with the real-time rendering engine or something. Something went wrong there. As it sounds to me like as they're moving through the world and it needs to, load more of the world is where it's hitting its issue, just from what we've read.
It's very... Plus, this game has been pushed back so many times.
Yeah.
That it should have been QA'd better. I mean...
But from what I've heard on the console versions, the wait was worth it. So it's...
I'm so addicted. It's so good.
I'll be finding out.
It's so good. I have been like, okay, normal people look at their clock. It's like, hey, it's 8 p.m. I look at the clock. It's like, hey, I only have like 6 more hours to play Arkham Knight today. So,
look at the time. It's Batman o'clock.
Yeah, it's been so good though. I'm sure once you jump on it, I'm just gonna get text after text of, oh my god, 'cause that's how I've been. If you're a Batman fan, that game is Batman fan crack.
Oh yeah,
it's so freaking good. But yeah, that's...
Yeah, I mean, I've a buddy of mine that I used to work with my movie theater projection days, Andre, he told me it's the best one out of all the Arkham games so far.
It's definitely the most fun to play, because the Batmobile just,
Yeah.
Because, gliding around was cool in Asylum because you had never done it before as Batman, but in City it's kind of a pain in the ass because you're like, I just want to get to my destination. Now it's like actually fun just cruising around, blowing shit up in the Batmobile. So like traversing is actually fun now, so everything's amazing in Arkham. But yeah, that's actually...
They had to do something, man. They rendered all of Gotham City in there. It is a full fucking city in Arkham Knight.
It blows my mind how it even works, because every little detail is beautiful in that game.
I mean, even the cinematics are rendered in real time. There's no loading screens whatsoever. And if you blow up a fucking car in the background where a cinematic happens to happen, that car is burning in the background of that cinematic because it's all rendered in real time. They can do anything they want with it. It's interesting. I don't even know how you can do that, how the hardware has gotten to that point with that size of a game with those graphics. I don't know.
But yeah, we've got to end the show because I have to go play more Arkham Knight. I'm sorry. Thank you guys for listening to us this week. If you'd like to follow us more, you can check us out on Twitter at TWBE Podcast and on Facebook at facebook.com/TWBE Podcast.
And very soon, YouTube. We are working on getting our YouTube channel up and running.
Yes, so I can do battle with the YouTube commenters.
It'll be audio only, but we are looking into doing some Let's Plays. And there's been some talk around our studio here that...
It's a studio.
Yo, it's a studio. It may be my office in my house, but it's a studio now. But we're talking about maybe doing some Let's Plays, and the first one we have been tossing around the idea of is probably Battlefront. So we will see how it goes. Hopefully I didn't just commit us to that and it doesn't happen.
Yeah, you probably asshole.
No one's listening anyway.
Yeah, they tuned out after the first 30 seconds. But yeah. Thank you guys for listening to us. We will catch you next time.